Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show. Coming from you right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined by our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Well, it's good to be here. I'm surprised you're still awake.
And yeah, I'm here after being at...
You, both of you.
What a lot of people are calling the greatest World Series game of all time. Me and Jonathan and our significant others, we went to go Dodger Stadium last night.
Was not expected to go 18 innings.
It was not expecting 2 full games. 18 innings, back and forth, you know, like knockout punch after knockout punch after knockout punch, body blow, body blow, right. Body blow, headshot, headshot, headshot. And yet nobody could cross or run across the plate, even though like there'd be runners on second and third with nobody out, bases loaded, like all this kind of stuff. Deep fly balls like would go right up against the wall, but not go out of the park. I didn't get to bed till about 3 a.m,
yeah,
which is why
for me.
Those of you who are watching live right now will notice that we were doing the show an hour later than we normally have because I needed the extra hour of sleep. Anyway, good to have you guys here joining us today. And let's not waste any time, shall we? Let's dive right into it and get started with this. Now, you guys know that there is a spin-off coming of Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It's crazy.
Focused on the Brad Pitt character. And it was being done by Netflix, which might be fair, might be unfair. The fact that it's being done by Netflix has made me totally dismiss it. In my head. Haven't really cared about it. Because if it's going to
Even
Netflix,
though it's David Fincher and it's written by Quentin Tarantino?
Even if it's David Fincher. I mean...
Could be the true romance of the 2020s.
Because if it's going to Netflix, it's not a real movie. Sorry, but 98 out of 100 movies Netflix does suck. They just do.
Come on, did you see Red Notice?
Did you not see Red Notice, sir?
Apologies.
I mean, yeah, so that's just kind of my feeling of it. Again, fair or unfair. But Netflix may be toying with the idea of not just putting this movie out on some screens, but giving it what's being called a robust theatrical release. This comes to us from the folks over at Empire. Write the following. Writing in a piece about Netflix and AMC Cinemas bearing the hatchet to tag team on theatrical releases, Rebecca Rubin revealed that The Adventures of Cliff Booth, that's going to be the name of the spinoff, is eyeing a summer 2026 release with Netflix, quote unquote, contemplating a more robust rollout for the Tarantino pen joint. Given that this tidbit is nestled alongside discussions of Greta Gerwig's Narnia movie, which is another Netflix film, getting a 2-week exclusive IMAX run next year, it seems safe to assume that similar plans are also being discussed by the streamer for Fincher's secretive Once Upon a Time in Hollywood follow-up. All right. This, to me, is good news on a number of fronts. First of all, it makes me infinitely more interested in the movie, knowing that they're looking at saying, yeah, this should probably be in theaters. And honestly, if you're doing look, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is not one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies, just to be frank. There's some amazing things in it, but it's not, I don't believe it's one of his better films. But still, if you're going to do a follow-up, spin-off, sequel, requel, whatever you want to call it, that focuses on Brad Pitt, that's got to go in theaters.
Yes.
And we've been talking for a long time about, oh, look, here's Netflix taking another baby step. Oh, look, Netflix is putting this one in theatrical. Oh, look, I got to go see Frankenstein in theaters this week. The Greta Gerwig Narnia thing. And you know, K-pop Demon Hunters is coming back to theaters again this week. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps.
I mean, even Stranger Things, the final episode.
Yes, that's a great one. That's a more recent one. They're going to put the series finale of Stranger Things. Theatrical release. Not a wide 1-month release.
Sure.
But at least they're doing even that in theaters. For them to now say they're looking at a more robust rollout for this. Notice that it doesn't say they're definitively going to give it a 45-day window full theatrical release. But I bet you anything that this, The Adventures of whatever his name is in it, Cliff Booth. I bet you anything this is going to be the biggest and widest release a Netflix film has ever got. And I think that's a good thing. And this is a good movie to kind of experiment with that with. Anyway, Rob, you read the story. What's your takeaway from it?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, that's what we've been talking about for so long. I mean, when you have David, first of all, look, I think David Fincher is one of our greatest working filmmakers. And it has been sad to me that his movies have been relegated since Mank to Netflix.
Yeah.
And maybe Mank and the Killer, were not necessarily, and the Mindhunter TV series I thought was outstanding. I wish they'd do season 3. But when you have this kind of talent, especially when you have Tarantino, and look, I would say this, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for me is like The Social Network. Every time I watch it, it gets better and better and better. And I'm like you. When I first saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was like, But now it's grown in stature. The idea that they're doing this at all is wild. It's just wild to me that they're taking this character. And by the way, I love the Cliff Booth character. Really do.
So do I.
So good. And the fact that he has this history that we can delve into and find out what really happened on that boat with his wife, and then there's all this great stuff going. So if they're going to do it, if they're going to pull a trigger, I mean, they should have done it with the Knives Out franchise, frankly. I mean, Glass Onion should have had a
100%
monstrous worldwide release.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. But Netflix has been obstinate. They have been wantonly thumbing their nose at theatrical because for whatever reason. And as we're saying, like, bro, it just makes all your movies have an added, they're more valuable. And like you said, this is a great idea. I think they should go all in, whether it's 3,000, 4,000 screens, give it a total international release. But it's really about the marketing. They really have to market the hell out of this, and they have to do something different. They've got to give it a creative marketing. They can't make it look like every other generic Netflix marketing push. Because Netflix, their ads look like their thumbnails, and I get it. It's a branding. But if you're going to go theatrical, you've got to market this so people, one, know it's coming, and get people excited.
Yeah.
Get a trailer out 4 or 5 months before the movie comes out theatrically. Lean into the fact that it's Cliff effing Booth, man. It's Brad Pitt. I mean, it's one of his signature roles now. And I hope they do because, with Narnia coming out, like this article talks about Greta Gerwig's, that's also should be theatrical. I mean, hell, Wake Up Dead Man should be hugely theatrical. They need to lean into this because it's not going to hurt them. I just don't get it. Make your product worthwhile. And by the way, keep theatrical alive. Why not do both? You add prestige to your movies, you come out theatrical, you get all your awards consideration, all the things you want, Netflix, that you have to pay extra for, you're going to get. And you're going to get money back, and it's going to cover the cost of this movie. Do it.
I wanted to share, just real quick, this was like just a few blocks from my house. Chili John's, you guys both know it in Burbank.
Oh, yes.
But I had taken these pictures. This was like back in August. I just walked over here.
Well, I thought I heard they closed down.
No. They're actually they were on the brink and they saved it with this.
Oh, that's
but
awesome.
Look in the window.
Yeah, see this?
Look
Like
at
this.
that.
I drove by. I'm like, Big Kahuna Burger, and I noticed they were like I put like, now that's a tasty burger. But look at this. I'll scroll further. Big Kahuna Burger. That's where it's from. And we know Cliff Booth, I guess, is gonna go get a Big Kahuna Burger in this movie now. And they had like the old like Independent, LA Express, whatever, like all these old.
That's awesome. By the way, guys, and that's the Burbank one.
Yeah.
Right? If you guys are ever in Burbank, I highly recommend Chili John's.
Oh,
Ann and I would pop in there once in a while when we lived in Burbank. I love that place. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Brad Pitt's Cliff Booth spinoff of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It sounds like Netflix, according to the report, is considering a robust rollout for the film. I'm thinking this might be the biggest one they've ever done theatrically. We're, of course, going to have to wait for more official word. But what do you think about it? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? A movie that I did not care about at all when first announced, and now I am very excited about. Predator Badlands, man. Predator Badlands is coming, and I just got my tickets for the early fan screening. They're doing an early fan screening, I believe, on the 5th. November 5th. So Ann and I grabbed our tickets for it. Very excited about seeing it. I think the trailers have been bonkers good. Predator Killer of Killers was way better than I thought it would be.
Way better. And it should have been theatrical.
And it should have been probably theatrical. I don't know how it would have done as an animated project, but still, and then, of course, the Alien side of that coin has been killing it. I think Alien Romulus was fantastic. You go all the way back to Prey with the Predator stuff.
Also the same director, Dan Trachtenberg.
All from Trachtenberg. And now the first reactions have come out for Predator Badlands.
Nice.
And they're great. And they're all very specific about the individual elements of the thing that they're saying they love so much. So let's go over and start looking at some of these first reactions that have come out about Predator Badlands. Aman Warman writes, Predator Badlands is friggin' awesome. Inventive action, organic comedy, and a story I was fully invested in. Dan Trachtenberg continues to push all the right buttons with this franchise. Impressive. Now, by the way, I can already hear the anuses puckering up, sucking in their little panties, and people going, comedy? Where'd you say comedy? Guys, did you never see the original Predator? Did you never see the original?
I ain't got time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed. I'm a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. I mean, it's an old film. You're forgiven if you didn't see the original. But yes, there should be a little bit of comedy in this. If it's balanced right, that could be awesome.
Sure.
Anyway, so they loved it. Next up, Aaron Percival wrote, initial Predator Badlands thoughts. Absolutely a dark horse adaptation. Fans of the wider EU will get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Leaned heavily into the adventure/fantasy angle and really showed the genre bending/flexibility of Predator. One of the key overall arching themes I read in a lot of them is like, hey, whereas the original Predator was more of a horror movie, this has horror, but it is more of an action sci-fi film. But they said it works. It totally works, making that shift. But that's some people who might be purists of the original, which would be forgiven. If you're a purist of the original, maybe you'll find that a little bit off-putting. But that's what they're saying. They're saying it works really well. Eamon Parks Jacobs writes, Predator Badlands is a cosmic buddy road movie, and it's all killer, no filler. Dan Trachtenberg smartly maneuvers the franchise to a grander scale than just another survival horror. It might not be as traditionally gory, but I had a blast with it. We keep going on. Christopher Reitzer wrote, Predator Badlands is the visual proof we need to crown Dan Trachtenberg the pioneer of the Predator franchise. With each movie, he continues to break the boundaries of what this franchise is capable of as he switches from an action horror to a sci-fi fantasy adventure. Christopher Gallardo writes, Predator Badlands, an action-packed ride that keeps you on your toes. It's a found family action adventure wrapped in that classic franchise brutality. Trachtenberg confidently continues to make Predator World captivating as Fanning charms and scares. By the way, I heard a lot of people here say that she completely steals the movie, saying she's great in it. Josh Barton writes, Predator Badlands is pretty badass expansion of the Predator franchise. Dan delivers yet more thrilling action in this world, even if this might be his weakest work in the franchise yet. That's the most negative thing I've heard about this. It's the most action-packed Predator film yet. Some of it is as brutal as you'd expect. And it just goes on, saying it's brutal, it's action-packed, it's all killer, no filler, more fantasy action, sci-fi than horror. That she's absolutely fantastic in it. And it says it does a great job, a lot of the others saying, of expanding the lore of this race of predators. And, we could even see that in the trailer itself. Failure means death, then I will not fail. And the whole thing of this hierarchy system of proving ground for these creatures. Anyway, look, you combine the trailers with the previous work that's already come out, and now with these first reactions, I got to tell you, man, I'm hard pressed to think of many other movies I am more excited to see than Predator Badlands right now. Star Wars Starfighter, Avengers Doomsday,
Project Hail Mary. Come on, say it.
Project Hail Mary. There might be 5 or 6 I'm more excited about than Predator Badlands. I cannot wait to see this. This all sounds great to me. Rob, with the combination of the movies we've seen from Prey, Killer of Killers, the Alien stuff, the trailers you've seen, and now the first reactions, what are you taking away from all this?
Well, first of all, I got to give it up for the quiet king of franchises, 20th Century Studios president Steve Asbell, who's been shepherding the energization, I don't know, of all these franchises, whether he was responsible for getting Prey made. He did the Hellraiser. He's brought Alien back, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, I have to say the most successful for me as a viewer has been what Trachtenberg has done with Predator. I love Prey. I was taken aback by it. Killer of Killers, I thought was way better than I thought it was going to be. And from the beginning, I had heard this was going to be by design a PG movie or PG-13 film because he set out to make a science fiction action adventure film from the get-go. Now, at first I was like, okay. But then I realized I don't need to see a predator hunting humans yet again. We have Predator. We have Predator 2. We have Predators. We have The Predator. We have Alien AVP. And in AVP Requiem, the most significant thing for me, John, was seeing the Predator homeworld. And ever since I saw the Predator homeworld and the Predator gets a ding, 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 oop, problem at Earth, I got to go solve this problem. I'm like, that means if there's the Predator homeworld, you have an entire civilization to explore. And you realize when the Predators are hunting, like that's their weekend. The Predators have a whole, they want to curry favor with their father and prove their mettle as hunters and all that. But there's Predator sitcoms, there's Predator sports teams, there's Predator movie theaters. There's a whole world there. So why not see it?
Predator movie theater.
And, come on, Predators have movies. They have their own version of Back to the Future. So it's like now we're seeing the fact that you've concentrated the next evolution. It makes sense to me that the Predator is our protagonist. And I think that's a great idea. And from the get-go, Dan Trachtenberg has been doing different things and expanding. And I like the reviewer who quoted the Dark Horse comics. Because anybody who's read Dark Horse Star Wars comics, Dark Horse Alien comics, or Dark Horse Predator comics, you know that the people that wrote and drew those comics love these franchises and took them to different areas and different places. And when they say that, I can't wait for this movie. I expect a fun romp. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be action-packed. And it's going to be, more importantly, something new.
Yeah.
Something that extends this mythology and makes it worth seeing.
I'm so excited about it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, we all pretty much agree the trailers have been pretty solid, but these first reactions sound glowing. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
Give it to me, baby.
All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, the other day, an absolute bombshell drop that I was not expecting at all. Taylor Sheridan, the man behind Yellowstone, 1883, 1923, Tulsa King, Landman, and not to mention King of, or Mayor of Easttown, or Mayor of, it's Mayor of Kingstown.
Kingstown.
I keep getting them mixed up. Mayor of Easttown is, of course, a very
King of
different
Tulsa
show.
Town.
Kate Winslet. Ooh.
Not to mention the movies that he's been behind, whether it's Sicario, Hell or High Water, Wind River, and others, who's been firmly under lock and key over at Paramount, and who David Ellison, the new owner and chairman of Paramount, has said, Taylor Sheridan's our number one priority. Announced he's leaving. He's gone. Fart in the wind. Out the door. Bye, Felicia. See you later.
Yeet.
He's leaving, and he's going over to NBC Universal Comcast. And, we were talking about this on the show the other day. It's like, what the hell? This is significant because you cannot overstate the importance and presence of Taylor Sheridan's work at Paramount.
No.
I mean, Paramount
It's been
Plus,
supporting that studio.
you might as well call it the Taylor Sheridan Network. I mean, he's 80% of everything that's really successful over there. And it was just unfathomable, or again, to quote Vincini, inconceivable that he would leave, but leave he did.
He's like the real life Marlboro Man. Look at that guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's won. He's won the game of life.
Who's won the game?
Well, now we're getting a bit of a picture as to the why. As a number of articles have come out both in the Wrap and in the Wall Street Journal, pointing at, and there's two main reasons. Reason number one is money. We'll get to that in a second. And reason number two is they wanted to try to control Taylor Sheridan. Paramount did.
Big mistake.
That's a mistake. Let's start with the first one here. The Wrap is writing, Taylor Sheridan's deal? $1 billion.
That'll do it.
1 billion with a B dollars to go over to NBC Universal. And they're like putting that as a major feather in their cap. And NBC Universal right now is kind of taking a victory lap. Now, I need to correct also one of the things that we said yesterday. which you said was this new deal will start in 2029. No, it doesn't. Half the deal starts in 2029. Taylor Sheridan is free to start producing movies for Paramount in 2026.
You mean Universal?
Sorry, Universal. Taylor Sheridan is free to start making movies for NBC Universal in just a few months. Now, his television deal does last until I think the end of 2028, so he can start making television.
Yeah, non-compete and all that.
Yeah, for NBC Universal in 2029. So, but he can actually start working for them a lot sooner than we thought. Big, big, big money. Now, the other thing, part of this was, it seems that Paramount thought they had Sheridan by a string or something like that. And he decided, no, it's not. And I'm trying to find the exact paragraph here. It says Sheridan was miffed when Paramount announced a new show with Nicole Kidman without a heads up because Nick Kidman is one of the stars of his show Lioness. So that's a bad move. It says, at the end of the day, a Paramount executive said, Paramount left him out there. This individual said, Cindy from NBC Universal was focused on him. Ellison took his eye off the ball. And I want to find this part where, Sheridan keenly felt, this is the key paragraph here. Sheridan keenly felt the shift in focus, according to the insider. He bristled at Holland, sent him notes on a show. Paramount passed on his idea for a new show called The Correspondent, and Paramount pushed back on the budget of Lioness. All that while they're trying to sign him. Now listen, I am all for fiscal responsibility. I really am. But if you're trying desperately to lock down the main guy at your studio, you don't say no to him on everything. And you don't turn down a new show he wants to do. And you don't do all that. Now, Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal go a little bit further, saying that politics kind of became a part of it. Where they wrote that, number one, they rejected one of his new shows, The Correspondent, because I guess certain people on the political spectrum don't like media. But
Media.
The bigger thing to Taylor Sheridan was they wanted him to develop a show based around the 250th anniversary of America with a decidedly right-leaning political thrust point to the whole thing.
No.
To which Taylor Sheridan, Taylor Sheridan's shows express a lot of traditional American values. Some might even say right-leaning, right? But, Rob and I were talking about this before. It's like there's a lot of room where right-leaning, more what you would call traditional American values, can fit and live very harmoniously with slightly more left-leaning ideologies. But for that, when them, according to Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg, coming into him and saying, we want you to do a more political thing and be more overtly political. And we want you to make one more patriotic about the 250. And he's like, no, I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get political. And so shooting down his shows that he wants to do, giving him notes on the shows he's doing.
Cindy giving him notes.
Yeah.
From Netflix.
$1 billion, who is now over at.
Yeah,
like not at Netflix
from
anymore.
Skydance.
And $1 billion offer from NBC Universal and saying, listen, you come over here, you'll be the big fish. The writing was on the wall. And he's over there. And I like the way the article puts it. It surmises it with this. Ellison took his eye off the ball. I think in hubris. Now listen, I have been a fan of a number of the moves that the Ellisons have done since getting Paramount. I think they are doing some things that are pretty smart. I've cheered on certain moves that they made that I think positions them very well for the future. But I can't help here but, Rob, but think hubris got in the way that, I'm the king of Hollywood now.
Of course.
Everybody's going to do what I want them to do. And Taylor Sheridan's not that guy.
No.
For good and for ill. I mean, listen, there are Sheridan characteristics that get him into some trouble sometimes that maybe he should work on. But at the same time, you got to understand that's the guy you're dealing with. and that was never going to work. Anyway, Rob, you hear about this. Does this make the picture more clear for you?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
still confusing? What do you think?
Well, look, let's Larry, Mr. I'm one of the richest men in the world, and his son David. Larry's going to buy TikTok. They're consolidating their media empire. They're definitely in bed with the Trump administration. They're interested in currying favor with the government. And that's because they have to do kinds of mergers and things like that to get what they want done. They have to do that. And I get that. Taylor Sheridan's a creator. You know what Taylor Sheridan is? He's a guy who's out there on the frontier. That's what he is. He's bringing American frontier ethos to his shows. And that's a very specific thing. And that's you go out and you make it happen yourself. You're going out into an unknown land. You're building your stuff yourself. Now, it was really interesting that my favorite Hollywood power hottie, Donna Langley, who runs Universal, went to Taylor Sheridan herself.
Multiple times. Went out to his ranch multiple times to face-to-face negotiate with him.
That's why she's my favorite Hollywood power hottie. That woman gets things done. She's got my respect. It used to be Sherry Lansing, but then... because she was married to Billy Friedkin, but now it's Donna Langley. I don't
By
know
the way,
Donna Langley.
Donna Langley, year in, year out. By the way, this is her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. She is. Donna Langley, year in, year out, gives one of the most impassioned, motivating, and inspiring and exciting CinemaCon presentations every single year. Whenever she comes out on stage every year, you know it's going to be good. Like she's pretty sharp.
She's amazing. Look at how she dresses too. You do not deny my favorite Hollywood power hottie. Maybe one of the greatest executives ever in the history of Hollywood. But that's what she does. She doesn't overlook Taylor Sheridan. She makes the trip, man. You do not deny Donna. You
she
do
gets
what
the
she
deal done.
And you know what she does? She gives you $1 billion. She's like, oh, you're being forsaken by the people that should be kissing your feet? You don't allow some female executive from Netflix that Skydance just brought over to tell you what to do. You take my $1 billion and you let me tell you what to do. No, but I think it's great. I look, creators are really the most important thing in Hollywood. Executives always think that they are. And yes, to a certain extent, they control Hollywood. But executives are only as good as the things that they are making. And the fortunes of executives can change as the wind blows. So you want to have somebody like Taylor Sheridan. He didn't just make one good show or two good shows. The guy has been producing for a decade. And by the way,
and writing and directing.
And you know what?
Producing.
You know what, Taylor Sheridan, if Taylor Sheridan was smart, he'd probably come up with some great idea for a show and pick up the phone and go, hey, C-Note, want to come direct my new pilot? Just for fun.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan's not going to do that.
Maybe not.
You know why?
But you
Wanna
never
why?
know.
You know why? Because Taylor Sheridan is a very I control everything guy.
Sure.
Which works for him. Which totally works for him. Christopher Nolan is not a type of guy who's going to go and work for something like that at all. It would
I know,
never
but
happen.
just to show Donna a little gratitude. Hey, how about we team up and do a little thing together? Cha-cha-cha. Just for fun.
Or, hey, or, not something, remember, the movie deal can kick in 2026. Taylor Sheridan has done movies that he has not produced, but he has simply written the script for.
Yeah.
What if he just wrote up a juicy little script? What if Christopher Nolan's got an idea for a new movie and Donna says, that's a great idea, Chris. What say we hand this over to Taylor and see if he wants to take a pass at it on the script thing, and then Nolan directs it. How mind-blowing would that be?
But also, if it was like, I'm not saying it has to be like Hell or High Water, but if it was a script, a lower budget script, character driven, something Christopher Nolan doesn't have to spend 2 years of his life on, that he could come in and make it more like the way he made Memento.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's got a hankering. How cool would that be? You give Christopher Nolan something like Hell and High Water meets Sicario and let him direct it Nolan style. That could be dope.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of a weird thing to think. In just the last couple of years, Universal now has under their umbrella Christopher Nolan, maybe the best guy, argument between him and Denis Villeneuve maybe, but maybe the best guy making movies today, and now Taylor Sheridan, who's maybe arguably the best guy making television today. Things are looking pretty, it's good to be Universal today. It's good to be Universal, even if you're $1 billion poor.
And James Wan, architect of the Conjuring franchise, is over there with Atomic Monster and Blumhouse as well.
That's right. Yeah, he's doing stuff with them. So Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Now that it became public the other day that Taylor Sheridan was departing the good ship Paramount and going over to NBC Universal, now we're getting some of the whys. Do any of these surprise you? Are you still stunned? I am. I'm still completely stunned by this. Anyway, whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Well, I mean, obviously, we were all stunned and shocked a couple years ago to find out that Jeremy Renner had that horrific accident that very nearly took his life and left him beaten and broken. Well, the man is a rocky comeback story because he looks great. We got the new season of The Mayor of Kingstown upon us, all that kind of stuff. But then he kind of made the news again when talking about Hawkeye. It sounded like a few months ago that he was shutting down any notion of him doing Hawkeye season 2, saying they wanted to pay me half of what I was making before and blah, blah, and it all looked bleak. Now, a little while ago, Renner made some other comments that made it sound like, oh, okay, wait a minute. They could still do Hawkeye season 2. He's still on board. He still says he's got love for Marvel and would like to work with them again. Well, in a new interview, it makes it sound like the most definitive so far that we are going to get a Hawkeye season 2, and it is going to be Jeremy Renner. Here's exactly what was said. This comes to us from the folks over at Superhero Hype. Speaking to the playlist during a recent appearance on their binge-worthy podcast, Jeremy Renner opened up about a second season of Hawkeye. Earlier this year, Renner let it slip that a second season was in development, but that he was forced to pass on it due to salary disputes. However, Renner's latest comments gave a much more optimistic update on the status of the show. Here's what Jeremy Renner said. We've got it to where we're trying to do the second season, Renner said, and I think I'll get strong enough to be able to do it, and we'll work it out. It's gonna be great. We've got it to where we're trying to do the second season, and I think I'll be strong enough to be able to do it, and we'll work it out. It's going to be great. This statement is a far cry from where we all thought the idea of Jeremy Renner in the MCU was, just a number of months ago. But Rob, let me be clear. What Jeremy Renner did not say is, mark it on your calendars, guys. March 2027, Hawkeye season 2. I've signed the contract. He's not saying that. But when he says, we're working on it, we've already been working out the details. It's just about me getting physically back strong enough to be able to do all the stuff I need to do. We're going to work it out, and it is going to be great. This, to me, is the most definitive thing yet, sounding like Marvel and Jeremy Renner are still in a partnership. Jeremy Renner is still going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that we are, in fact, going to get that Hawkeye Season 2, which actually makes me wonder a bit if there could be a surprise appearance by Jeremy Renner. I doubt in Doomsday, but maybe in time for Secret Wars. Remember, he didn't really pop up in Infinity War, and then along he came and played a pretty major part in Endgame. So maybe there's that there. Listen, Rob, we've talked about this every once in a while when we bring up issues of Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as far as their players go, is such a different lineup today than what it was when we had the first Avengers movie. And that I've very openly thought that while introducing all these new characters and new ideas and new directions, you got to maintain a little bit of your OG-ness to still make it feel like Marvel. And there's not many left. Jeremy Renner, I believe, is a key part of that puzzle. So I think it's important that they keep him around, at least for a while. So anyway, Rob, you read Jeremy Renner's comments. How do you interpret them?
Well, the guy's a miracle.
Yeah.
So I've always liked Jeremy Renner as a performer. He's always been, I loved him in The Town, with Ben Affleck. Whose car are we taking? I love that. I love him in that. So, and I love him as Hawkeye. I thought he was a great presence in Hawkeye. And I really like the fact that they sent him down this dark path as Ronin. And then he came back clearly suicidal. I'll go through your time machine. I don't care. And then, of course, when he gets his wife back, it's fantastic. He's great. And I think that we might see him in Doomsday. It wouldn't surprise me. We haven't got Chair Watch 2 yet. I don't know why. But I think it's great. And I think that if they've come up with a way to make a great Hawkeye Season 2, look, for me, it's all about the story. I thought Hawkeye Season 1 was a little lackluster. It lacked oomph. And it seemed
agree.
a little goofy. Like, here's a secret agent who's traveled all over the world with Black Widow and done all this stuff, and it's like he's wandering around New York for multiple episodes. Like, if you want to go see your wife, just go see her. Go see your kids. Like, what? Why are you still wandering around going to cosplay in Central Park, whatever the hell they were doing?
Yeah,
I'm like,
he really got lost in the plot.
it really was just all over the place. I'm like, where's the narrative thrust in this story? Kind of like, it's certainly not the end of one of your arrows, but I hope it's better, and I think it will be better. It has to be better. So I'm glad. Look, I want Jeremy Renner to. The more Renner, the better.
The more Renner, the better.
The more Renner, the better.
By the way, a lot of people don't know that he had one big missed opportunity in his career. He was offered a role where he was going to play twin brothers in an action film. Here, I got a background pic of it. There it goes. It was going to be great.
Wow.
It was going to be great.
They could have called it twins.
I mean, it's like, which one is which?
Could have been.
You know what it was like? It was like that Saturday Night Live sketch where they're trying to find the new Chippendales dancer.
True.
And, it came down to me and Jeremy Renner about the new action hero. And Jeremy Renner and me about
You know what, though?
55 pounds ago.
But I look at this picture. You guys could play brothers. You could. I could see
I
that.
think we could pass as Italian family.
Yeah, you totally could. By the way, remember, they made a Bourne movie starring Jeremy Renner.
Yes, they did.
And a lot of people forget about it. I kind of liked it.
It was a good
pretty
little movie.
I thought so.
It wasn't awesome, but
No,
it was a good little
it's
movie.
good. It was their Hobbs and Shaw.
It was their Hobbs and Shaw.
It was.
They still made a Bourne movie with the name Bourne in the title without Bourne in it.
I know.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you like the idea? And do you believe we are now going to, in fact, get that Hawkeye season 2? Do you feel certain about it? While they did not say this is official by any stretch of the imagination, I, as a fan, kind of feel certain about this. I think this clearly means it's going to happen. Whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? One of the early Oscar buzzed movies is a sequel to a big smash hit from last year. Wicked, of course, came out, kind of dominated the pop cultural scene for a while, made a hell of a lot of money, and now we got the sequel coming out. Rob, I keep forgetting, what were your thoughts on the original Wicked? How did you feel about it?
I liked it. I didn't catch up with it until later. Now I own it. But I like Wicked a lot. I mean, I thought it was really beautifully done. A lot of people, there was all these complaints about the color palette.
Oh, I thought it was wonderful.
I did too.
It was so true to the original Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I thought I really liked it. And
That's a common theme, though, lately. There's a lot of YouTube channels that are like, the color palette is just not what it used to be. It's
yeah,
like,
and I enjoyed it. It's by the way, it looks incredible in 4K, just so you know. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought the performances, Ariana Grande, both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are phenomenal. They are phenomenal in those movies. And every time I see Ariana Grande in anything, or whether she's doing a talk show or whether she's performing, she's incredibly talented.
Impressive. She's
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Have you ever seen the YouTube video of her? This is because, there's a lot of pop stars out there today, like, Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
Who honestly is just a Temu version of Ariana Grande. Not actually that good. Like, Anne got her new album. I was listening to him like, this just isn't very good. But and I don't think she's a better singer than me, but that's not saying anything. But there's this video. It's older now, but there's this YouTube video you can find of Ariana Grande where she does this thing where in 5 minutes.
Oh,
she sings all these different songs.
I've watched that. Yeah.
As these other iconic female vocalists.
Yeah.
And I remember, listen, I'm not a big fan of her material because her style of songs aren't necessarily for me, but I can recognize talent. And I remember watching that video when she did Whitney doing a Whitney song. She did Celine.
Wasn't that on Saturday Night Live or something? It's a clip from.
I can't remember what was original. I saw it on YouTube.
It's great.
And I just remember my jaw hitting the floor.
Yeah, no.
Holy crap.
She does Shakira.
Oh, yeah, she does all of them. Yeah. And she sounds just like them and can hit all the notes. And I'm like, oh my God, this girl's good.
I love her because, in order to do that, you have to be smart and you have to have a certain wit and verve. And it's like that great clip when she does Jennifer Coolidge. Oh God, you look like the 4th of July. She's so good, and because of that, they met. They'd never met, and because she did that, I think wasn't it on Jimmy Fallon or something?
Something along those
And
lines.
you see her do that, and she's just so. Whenever you see her, she makes me smile. Whenever I see her, and she's great.
By the way,
great in Wicked.
I have
Great.
sidetracked us from the actual story.
Yeah, but no, look, it does not surprise me that they're saying that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are even better in Wicked for Good.
Well,
And
what
that
Rob
Wicked-
is talking about is the fact that the first reactions from Wicked for Good
Yes.
have now come
Oh, that's
out.
what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I got us totally
We're not doing the
sidetracked.
Ariana Grande
This is like being in-
Society.
Club,
This
yeah.
is like being the 17th inning of an 18th inning game. Man.
But no, I mean, it does not surprise me. Like, look, the first Wicked's great. But you know, the big thing that I've been curious about is the fact that the play does not, the latter half, it's not like the buoyant. It doesn't have the song,
big hit song.
what's it called?
But-
Up in the air. What I was saying.
Define Gravity.
Define Gravity.
But
up in the air.
they're saying that while the first Wicked was pretty true to the stage production, they're saying the second one takes some more liberties.
Well, it would have to. Yeah.
And we should take a minute here and actually read through some of the first reactions that have come out for Wicked for Good, because a lot of them are saying Ariana's getting her Oscar. That's a tall thing to say.
That is.
But, I mean, we'll see about that. They say they've introduced some new musical numbers. Anyway, Jazz Tanksy from Variety wrote, "Get ready because Wicked for Good exceeds all expectations. John M. Chu is a genius in the way he brings this to a close. Elphaba and Glinda's stories are expanded and leave you with an emotional gut punch at the end. Cynthia Erivo is magnificent, but get ready for Ariana Grande getting her Oscar." Next, we got Rebecca Ford wrote, "I spoke with John M. Chu at the SCAD Film Festival just yesterday in front of a very enthusiastic crowd. Now I can finally share what I've seen. Wicked for Good, and he's done it again. It's glorious, full of heart, and sticks the landing. A beautiful finale." David Gordon wrote, "If Wicked Part 1 was faithful to the blueprint of the stage, Wicked for Good builds out the world to create a full and different, but the same, and extremely emotional version of Act 2. It's a thrill ride and a heartbreaker, and it's sexy, and it's everything you want it to be." Kobe Casal wrote, "Watching Wicked with the original Broadway company is something I will never forget. Bring your tissues and watch out because Ariana Grande is going to win that Oscar. Wicked for Good hits theaters on November 1st. It is less than a month away. I keep forgetting about that. Destiny Jackson wrote, "Wicked for Good, all good deeds go rewarded in Wicked for Good. It's an epic and heartbreakingly tender conclusion of one of the most dynamic friendships in pop cultural history. There's a lot for fans of the Broadway show to love with butterfly kiss size surprises in store." Chris Murphy wrote, "Saw Wicked for Good last month, and believe me when I say that it expands and deepens the original source material in generally exciting and innovative ways. Cynthia and Ari take their performances to the next level with jaw-dropping performances. The film fully sticks the landing." I have spoken to a couple of people, because you got to understand, I never went to go see the stage production of Wicked. I am not the target audience for Wicked. Even though I like musicals, that's not my thing.
You don't like to defy gravity?
And I really liked Wicked. I liked Wicked way more than I thought I would. And it is not my kind of movie. I am not its target demographic, and I was thoroughly impressed with it. I really was. Even right from the opening of it, I thought, oh my God, I feel like I'm in Oz again. I had the same feeling I had when I went to the Sphere in Vegas to watch Wizard of Oz in the Sphere. It's like this magic. It just brings you right in. And I'm talking to a couple people who've said they believe this is better than the first one. And a lot of people thought that would be a challenge because a lot of people thought the strength of Wicked is the first act, not the second. But they're saying everybody I've talked to who've seen it thinks they prefer the second one over the first one. By the way, let me throw this out there, Rob. I've mentioned this before. One of my struggles with Wicked is that, I'm sorry, the Wicked Witch of the West, when you watch Wizard of Oz, was not misunderstood. And I thought Wicked was just going to be about how she was this good person and events turned her evil and all that kind of stuff. It's becoming apparent to me now that that's not what's happening. And one of my struggles with Wicked is that is not the Wicked Witch of the West, right? And then I had an epiphany, Rob. The light bulb went off. I had my eureka moment. I thought to myself, John, this isn't a prequel to Wizard of Oz. This is an Elseworlds what if story of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
And once my mind got wrapped around that concept, like, oh, stop worrying. This isn't a prequel to Wizard of Oz. This is a comic book what if story.
Mm-hmm.
And once my mind kind of locked in on that as the what's the key called that is the crux to any kind of translation?
Skeleton. Oh wait,
No,
key.
it's the abacus key. No, there's some kind of a word there for it. But once I got my mind around that this is an Elseworld story, then all of a sudden all my problems with Wicked went away, and I just learned to. I don't think it's Albatross, Daniel. But anyway, I'm actually genuinely excited to see this, and these reactions are fantastic. Anyway, Rob, what are you taking away from this?
Well, I mean, look, what I did love. I mean, this is such a beloved piece of pop culture from the last 30 years, the book, the musical, all of it, that I just, again, like to see something well executed. And while Wicked is not necessarily my thing either, it's very apparent to me, you watch this movie, what's not to love about it? You know, I mean, it's got great songs, great performances. The design of it's incredible. You know, costume design's amazing. There's nothing about this movie that isn't. It's what movies are all about. So it doesn't surprise me that knowing they were going to have a problem sticking this landing by splitting the movie into two, that they would have to make they have to make leaps. They'd have to open the movie up. They'd have to change things around. And the fact that they were able to do it, I think is great, because, you know, this is what you want. I would hate it if Wicked for Good was not good, but the fact that it probably is going to surpass the original, and you put these two together, this is a great fantasy film. You know, maybe it's different than Lord of the Rings, but it's going to go down in history as one of the great pieces of musical fantasy. You know, and it only benefits everyone. And it's a great piece of work. And in terms of what we're getting now, this isn't a remake. It's stage plays have always been, or musicals have always been, great fodder for movies. And you don't see it happen as much anymore. And this is in grand fashion. You're taking a Broadway play that was an adaptation of a literary source and doing right by it, and then Hollywood even pluses it more. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's exciting. I'm glad it's great.
I still wonder how it's going to do at the box office. Like, don't get me wrong, it's going to be big. Like, that I have no doubt. It's going to be a hit. It's going to be big. Absolutely. Does it exceed the first one? I don't know. I don't know if it does or not, because again, with the first one in the marketing, I don't think you can overstate how big that I think I'll try to find like that song. That's the big number.
Yeah.
Right? And they had that
Sing it,
everywhere
buddy.
on the marketing. They had it everywhere on the marketing. It was plastered even on their Target cross promotional things with the Target. You had Cynthia Erivo walking through Target and going, like it was everywhere. And this movie does not have that.
It's like
for its marketing.
Well, unless
So
they said they
wonder.
wrote new songs. You know,
I know, but none of them are going to be Defying Gravity.
but if this has that emotional wallop at the end, and I can guess, and if they amp that up, and you're going to get people going back to it, I mean, this is the mother-daughter event of the year.
Could be.
I mean, if it's Taylor Swift's not putting out another movie.
By the way, side note, have you seen the musical video for Ophelia?
Yes.
You know she directed that?
Yes.
I'm not saying it's my favorite song in the world. That is one of the most artistically brilliant music videos
Yeah, it's a
I've
great
ever
music
seen.
video.
I was, when I heard that she directed, I was kind of floored. Anyways, that complete side note. Guys, question is for you.
There's nothing she can't do, John.
Now, apparently, there's nothing she can't do. What do you guys think about this? Listen, I got to tell you, even though it's not for me, I kind of fell in love with the first Wicked movie. I'm very excited for the second. I love hearing that. Everybody's kind of saying this is even better than the first one. Everybody's saying Ariana Grande to win the Oscar. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that, but she was great in the first one. We'll see. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, Let's move on and talk about this, shall we? You know, one of the biggest questions that has kind of been floating around ever since word first broke that Paramount was looking to acquire Warner Brothers, and then, of course, the tidal wave. Well, now Amazon is making bids. Now Apple is making bids. Netflix has called them to express interest, like all this kind of stuff. One of the big questions has been, what will happen with James Gunn? Will James Gunn still be the head of DC if Apple gets it, if Paramount gets it, whatever? Now, I did a topic on this a little while ago where I gave 3 reasons why he could not be there anymore and 3 reasons why we should expect him to be there. And amongst the reasons why I believed it's possible that once Warner Brothers gets acquired, that maybe James Gunn doesn't keep his job was because sports analogies, when a new GM comes in, sometimes they just want their own people. They just want it to be their regime. They want to, clean house a bit and install their own people. Nothing wrong with that. And there are a couple other reasons like that, right? Now, I still, at the end of the day, believed, and we talked about this even just the other day, that whenever Warner Brothers gets bought, James Gunn will still be there because he's one of the reasons you want to buy DC. Well, at least for one studio, it sounds like if they get Warner Brothers, unless James Gunn wants to leave, James Gunn is still going to be the head of DC. As is being reported over at Bloomberg, that Paramount plans to keep Warner Brothers largely intact, and they get more specific when they write the following. Paramount Skydance Corp plans to keep much of Warner Brothers Discovery Inc. intact if it merges with the rival film and TV studio, a decision that may help address worries about job losses and production costs. David Ellison, chief executive officer and controlling shareholder of Paramount, wants to keep the creative teams of the 2 studios while consolidating some of the marketing and distribution, according to people familiar with his plans. Okay, look. When they say he plans to keep the creative teams of the 2 studios intact, I have people that I know at most of the studios. Doesn't mean I have close relationships with them, but I know most people, and a lot of times when something comes out, I will fire off emails asking for clarification. 7 times out of 10, they don't respond. 1 time out of 10, they'll say, I can't address that. And maybe about 15-20% of the time, they'll actually give me an answer. I know a couple of people over at Paramount, and to which I wrote, I quoted this article out of Bloomberg. I says that Ellison plans to keeping the creative teams in place. And I specifically and directly asked, does that include Luca and Abdy, and does that include James Gunn and Peter Safran? To which they gave me a simple response. Yes. Yes. So, I mean, to be fair, that's fairly clear in the article. I probably didn't even need to write and ask, but still, I did write and ask for clarification. Is Ellison's plan of keeping the creative teams in place, does that include Luca and Abdy, which you and I, Rob, would have been shocked with the winning streak that Luca and Abdy have been on if anybody got rid of them. Also, not to mention, David Zaslav just gave them a massive new contract to ensure and guarantee their positions there.
And also, they're old school. I mean, they go back decades now in terms of, Mike DeLuca started out cutting his teeth at New Line in the 80s.
I mean, so they are locked in, and apparently as long as James Gunn wants to stay, him and Peter Safran are going to continue running DC. So there's been this narrative going around online is that, I read on Gus's gas station movie reviews.fart that James Gunn is out. Well, apparently it's not true. James Gunn is going to be the head of DC. And I think this is important. Now, look, while I loved the new Superman, and I did, I loved it. Man of Steel is still my favorite. Henry Cavill is still my boy. But I loved the new Superman, despite the fact that it's not my all-time favorite, but I still loved it. I love Peacemaker, despite the fact that I didn't like the finale. But I love Peacemaker overall. I'm excited to see where they're going. There's still a lot to be seen, right? There's still a lot to be seen. How does Clayface turn out? That's a big swing. Clayface is a big swing.
Yeah.
How does this Supergirl movie work out? How does Man of Tomorrow work out? How does Lanterns work out? That's important. honestly, to me, that's the key to all this. If they can make a Lantern show that truly hums and works, I'll feel really good. But even though I think James Gunn and Peter Safran are off to a really good start at Paramount or at Warner Brothers and running DC, I still think there's a lot to be seen. So, but with the start they're off to, and the fact that they seem to have brought back from the dead this decaying, rotting corpse of what was the DC brand on the big screen, we thought it would be very difficult to imagine a studio wanting to start over again or to scrap that, but rather see where it goes. I think it makes sense now that David Ellison is saying, oh, I'm keeping DeLuca and Abdy, and we're keeping James Gunn and Peter Safran. Now, that doesn't mean, Rob, that after Clayface, Supergirl, Man of Tomorrow, Lanterns, and whatever else is coming after that, if some of those things misfire, that's not to say that in 2028, 2029, we may not see Paramount want to change things up and maybe remove James Gunn and Peter Safran at that time. But it sounds like for now, they're like, no, the smart play here is to keep going with James Gunn and Peter Safran. They've resurrected this brand. Why would we not? Rob, I'm not surprised to hear this. I know there will be some people online who will be surprised to hear this and will probably deny its validity, but you hear this. Does this make sense to you? Are you surprised, pleasantly surprised, not surprised at all? What do you think?
Well, you know, a lot of the time when you hear about corporate mergers and corporate takeovers, the new overlords want to put their people in place, their loyalists, whatever, and get rid of the old guard, which I totally understand. But in this case, when you have creators and studio executives, what are you going to do? Go look for people? Tell me who's better than Pam Abdy and Mike DeLuca with their experience. There are very few people on planet Earth who do have that experience. I mean, Mike DeLuca was at New Line when Lord of the Rings was made.
Yeah.
You know, he was there when the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, was winding down and they were looking for something else to do. I mean, he's been there for a long time. And so why would you get rid of that experience? I mean, yeah, is it expensive to keep that knowledge around? Yes. But what Hollywood really needs is institutional knowledge. And I think James Gunn, you want to look back at his career. Look, he's been making movies. He's been making movies since the 90s. He's working on his third decade of making films. And whether you like his DC Universe take, you can't deny that he's done things like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are a great, successful trilogy for Disney, $2 billion plus franchise. You look at his indie movies like Slither and Super, both $3 million movies that did well. He's produced other really interesting stuff. He was a studio writer on things like Scooby-Doo. I mean, the guy's got incredible experience, knowledge of how to work in Hollywood. You know, you don't get rid of people like that, especially when they're making you money. And especially when they're in the middle, like it was pointed out, Warner Brothers is building. I think you said it yesterday. You know, they built up, or you said it. You talked about the stock going up to $75 million. And it's like, or 700, whatever it was. It's gone
like
up.
75 million.
75 million. I mean, you don't do that. And you keep it intact because that way you don't have to, you hit the ground running. The merger takes place and you don't miss a step. It's great. I think it's what they're doing is great. The only thing that worries me is the political machinations behind the scenes of these two companies coming together and owning TikTok and all that. I think that's concerning overall in terms of wanting to keep democracy going. But in terms of keeping movies going, I think it's a good plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you have to. And you know what? I don't doubt for a second that if Apple ends up winning this battle and gets Warner Brothers, they're going to keep DeLuca and Abdy and Peter Safran and James Gunn. I think if Amazon wins this battle, they're going to keep those four. Yeah. I think if NBC Universal Comcast wins this battle, I think they're going to end up keeping those 100%. Four.
It's the template.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you don't do another DC reboot right now, especially when the one you're doing is working. Because what they've done has been far more successful than anything DC did in the previous crop of years. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out. But guys, a lot of uncertainty still surrounding the Warner Brothers takeover, but it looks like one thing is kind of locked. On the studio side, on the Warner Brothers studio side, you're still going to have DeLuca and Abdy. On the DC studio side, you're still going to have James Gunn and Peter Safran. And we'll see where that all goes. And guys, are you surprised to hear about that? Does it kind of come out of left field? I think it's just another thing of Paramount kind of trying to ease the fears of the shareholders of Warner Brothers. First by saying, hey, David Zaslav is still going to be CEO and he'll be my co-CEO. He'll be my co-boss. Oh, and we're going to keep DeLuca and Abdy and James Gunn and Peter Safran. Maybe it's part of it. Anyway, whatever you guys think about all that, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address on our show, go ahead and send it on into our tip link that you can find at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And as long as it's appropriate to be addressed on our show, you'll see us address it here on the show. But before we get to that, we want to bid good afternoon to Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, great job as always, my friend.
Thank you,
We'll talk
sir.
to you again tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. And I guess game 4 tonight.
Game 4, Toronto Blue Jays. Got to try to tie it up.
We'll see.
Playing against the greatest baseball player who has ever lived, Shohei Ohtani. Anyway, all right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Let's now get over to your topics and questions that you guys have been sending in to our tip link, shall we? Jonathan, what do we got up first?
First up, we got Arun Babaraj, who says, "Hey, John, Jio Hotstar, a streaming network in India, will be launching a 100-episode series based on the epic Mahabharata soon. The series is completely AI generated, no actors, no sets. To do it for an epic like Mahabharata is breaking a new ceiling, I think."
I have a hard time believing it's all AI. I don't know anything about the story, so I can't say anything definitively. Let me be clear, but it's probably like a mixture of like CG, because, the latest Lion King, there was no sets, no actors, no anything, but that wasn't generated with AI. It was generated with like CG. I have no doubt it'll probably use AI, something like that, but it'll be interesting to see as other people start to experiment with stuff like that. All right, what's next?
We got Mr. Snivy, who says Friday the 24th was game day.
Game day.
Went to see Chainsaw Man, the movie, and it was phenomenal. Even if you haven't seen the show or manga, I recommend it. Might be my favorite of 2025, though I still haven't seen one battle after another.
Yeah, I'm not going to go see it. Again, that's not me downplaying or crap talking on it, because I haven't seen it. I can't say anything negative about it at all, but it's just not for me. It's not my style of thing, and so I probably won't be seeing myself, but I'm really glad that you saw it and that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and congrats on its success over the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
$20 tip from Carl. Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We read this yesterday. Sometimes it Stream Elements like reshuffles.
Oh, okay.
But thank you either way. Anonymous says, "What's a film you're most excited for that isn't immediately obvious choice? Mine's the upcoming Oasis reunion doc, the greatest rock and roll comeback of all time. How it came to be, and DP'd by 2-time Oscar nominee Robbie Ryan. Greatness awaits." So they're like kind of an under the radar movie. You're
I don't carry around a list off the top of my head. I'm sure there probably are. If I took the next 5 minutes to sit here and go through a big list of films coming up in 26 and 27, I'd probably be able to point out a couple, but I don't have the list off the top of my head. It's a great question, but I don't have an answer for you right now, unfortunately.
Alfie says, "Hey, John, what a great game last night. You and Ann must have had a blast. Go Blue Jays. Going to try to see Rob's movie tonight." Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was. Listen, we just knew we were watching history in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you sat there and just looked at the box scores, 9 straight innings without any runs scored, you'd think, oh, that sounds boring. But every inning was thrilling.
Oh, just plays that I've never seen done before.
It was just, when I turned on ESPN this morning and I saw like Derek Jeter talking about this may have been the greatest baseball game ever played.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times you hear pundits say things with a lot of hyperbole and you think, oh, that's an overreaction. But I'm telling you what, he said that and I'm like, he might be right. That might have been the greatest baseball game ever played.
Because it was 18 innings of just elite pitching, defense, and then offense just trying so hard.
Despite all the zeros, a lot of hitting, man.
A lot of people got on base from both teams.
They combined for over 30 hits.
Yeah.
I think 4 home runs. It was drama.
Yeah.
Every inning was nail biting and drama. Oh my God.
Everyone there was like, there's no one there that was honestly going to say, oh, I knew the Dodgers had it all along. It could have easily been the Blue Jays last night.
You could make an argument the Jays should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 or 6 times in that game that the Jays should have won. There are 5 or 6 times in the game that the Dodgers should have won. And if not for a millimeter here and there, the game could have changed a lot. Listen, David Ortiz put it best. He said, this series, before game 1, David Ortiz said, this series is Goliath versus Goliath.
Yeah.
This is not a David versus Goliath. This is a Goliath versus Goliath. And you go into game 3, it tied 1 game all, where the Jays just spanked them in the first game.
Yep.
Dodgers, their dominance comes out in the second game. And then the third game goes to an all-time classic 18 innings slugfest. Listen, I'm not the world's biggest baseball fan. Everybody knows that. But how can you not be enamored with this drama, man? You can't write this. This is amazing stuff. Anyway. All right, what's next?
We got Ymir. Do you think Everything Everywhere All at Once or
I see Oppenheimer
was more deserving of the Oscar sweep? Was it a tough
Essentially,
year?
what you're asking is, do I like Oppenheimer more?
Right,
Do I like
exactly.
I like Oppenheimer more. I mean, they're both phenomenal films.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me which one would I personally give the edge to, I personally give the edge to Oppenheimer, but they're both ridiculously fantastic films. All right, what's next?
Box office receipts. Hey, I don't get why you say both Toy Story 5 and Super Mario Galaxy won't get $1 billion. Inside Out 2, Moana 2, Despicable Me 4 did very well. Did Despicable Me 4 do very? I have to relook at that.
Yeah, it did.
I guess
really
it did.
well.
I
Yeah.
wasn't big on it though. That's what it was. And that was last year. Why are you so cautious on films that are slam dunks? And will Zootopia 2 change your mind?
Well, I explained it pretty clearly. Like, especially with Toy Story 4, or Toy Story 5. Toy Story 4, while I think it was still quite good, I think it's universally agreed upon that it was probably the weakest of the Toy Story movies. Like, even people like me who really quite enjoyed it, I think it's universally agreed it was kind of the weaker of the Toy Story movies. So you combine that with a number of other items in there. You look at something like Inside Out. Inside Out was beloved. The first Inside Out was beloved. And so doing a second one and hearing that it was as good as the first, all that kind of stuff, great. The first Moana was absolutely beloved. #1 streaming movie in the world. Not just #1 animated movie. #1 streaming movie in the world 8 years after it was out in theaters. Toy Story 4 doesn't have that kind of steam behind it. Or Toy Story 5, I should say, doesn't have that kind of steam behind it. And whereas Mario Brothers was a $1.3 billion film, it wasn't great.
No.
It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it. I'm a thumbs up guy for the Super Mario Brothers movie. But it wasn't Toy Story 3. And it wasn't Moana. It was good. And so you combine those things with the fact, like, you're trying to compare it to, like, Inside Out and Moana, which had beloved, celebrated originals with, uncharted kinds of success with their popularity and how beloved they are. With Toy Story 5 coming off the weakest of the Toy Story movies, Super Mario, I think it's going to do very well. The sequel will do very well and make a lot of money. But it's not like the first one was beloved the way Moana was beloved. So I think both Toy Story 5 and Mario Brothers are going to do very well. I think they're going to make money. I think they're going to be very successful. All that kind of stuff. I'm not saying they're going to flop. They're going to be great. But I don't right now see them breaking the $1 billion mark. I think they might come close. But if I had to guess, I don't think I see them breaking the $1 billion mark. But they can still be very, very successful. All right, what's next?
Okay, here's our last of the tips.
Great.
Artemis says, from New York, thank you, John, for inspiring me to pay off my credit card debt. I have investments in AI stock like NVIDIA since 2019. They paid off big. Yeah, man, if you've had NVIDIA since 2019, the pop it's had.
Very, very well.
Yeah, if you had that or AMD, you're doing good. Especially today. I'm so thankful to Rob and Jonathan and you for being the best at what you do. Party.
Yeah, I made a little video a while ago about just financial, because I had every once in a while talk about some of my financial philosophies. And so I finally put together just one big video about, it wasn't that big, it was like 10 minutes long, about the financial principles that I've always kind of lived my life by. That I got from my dad. And now listen, none of the financial advice or financial principles that I live my life by, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I just sharing the financial principles that I live by. None of them were groundbreaking. None of them were like the ones my dad came up with. Just the principles I do. And it's the reason why I've been able to do things that I've done when I've had very little money and the things that I've done when I've had some money. And a couple of the key principles are very simple, but nobody likes to actually do them. One of the main principles financially that I've lived by since I was in my early 20s, late teens even, is I only buy things outright. I do not buy anything on payment plans, ever. The one thing I've always said will be the exception to that rule is if I ever buy a house, which, 3.5 years ago, Ann and I bought our first house. And I do have a mortgage on that. But aside from that, I said, I'll never buy a computer. I will never buy a car. I will never buy a video game. The principle my dad taught me was this. He said, if you can't afford to buy something straight out of your bank account, then you can't afford it. That was what my dad told me once. If you can't afford to buy it, then you can't afford it. So none of this, put it on a credit card. None of this, put it on this 48-month payment plan. I had to wait for years and years of saving up money to get my first car. Well, my first car was a car my dad actually bought me for $300. It was a 17-year-old Dodge Colt.
Nice.
And it looked every bit as much as you imagined it would have looked. But my dad helped me get that. And then I saved for years and years and years and years until I had enough money to go to the car dealership in Hamilton. And I bought my Pontiac Sunfire. And I owned it. And then that's the car I drove to LA in 17 years ago. I drove that car from Canada to here, and that's the car I drove until I ran it into the ground, and then I got my father-in-law's hand-me-down 18-year-old, I can't even remember what the name of the car was.
Wasn't it an Integra?
Yeah, it was the Integra.
Yeah.
So I started driving the Integra, and I drove that and that and that.
We've been working long enough with each other that I know that
remember the
that
name
car
of
was
the car.
Integra.
But it was literally probably 15 years that I saved money till I could buy another car because I was not going to buy it on a payment plan. So I bought my Tesla, right? And that sounds a lot, but you'd be surprised what you can afford if you save for long enough. And that includes credit cards. I never take a credit card out of my pocket. Never take a credit card out of my wallet. The only time I'll take a credit card out of my wallet is if maybe I'm in Vegas and like I do have a Caesars Visa or something like that, and they'll like double my something if I use it.
Yeah.
But if there is ever the rare time I'll pull a credit card out of my wallet, the very first thing I do when I get home is open my bank website and I transfer money back into the credit card. I never carry a balance ever. So yeah, don't look at credit cards as a real thing. It just put them away. Yeah, again, that is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm simply telling you what principles I myself have lived by, and they've kind of worked out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and that'll do it, guys, for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Of course, big thanks to Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
All right, guys. See you later.
My name's John Campea. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. Tomorrow, the show will return to its regular time at 11 a.m. Los Angeles time. We'll look forward to seeing you then. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.